might not fully hear me because there's other artists downstairs, but welcome. These are the pieces that I've been working on. I'll close the window. And to give you context, I've been working on the pieces that I'll show you now, which are inspired by France. So obviously for my practice, grief and memory and grappling with how grief and joy coexist, those are heavily in my practice. But when you add to that, location inspires me, memory inspires me. So I use the sketches that I make on location. I think about the emotions. That's why we were talking about moods yesterday. And then I also like to bring in my own memories as well as color palettes, of course. So for France, the color palette is very primary color. And then for the Donegal ones, it's this very muted turquoisey vibe, but I realized that the pinks that I was mixing are very similar. So I have no gold on the big one at the minute, and I'm going to add a little bit of gold while I'm on to you. So let me know if you have any questions. Definitely speaking a little lower, and I don't have my mic because I'm in the studio and there's other people here. So I don't want to be yelling. Not that I yell at you. Let me know if you have any questions about how to build a business, about how to get better at loose painting or improve your loose painting, about my new course that's out. It's the Mastering Foundations of Loose Painting. But meanwhile, I'm going to show you the oil that I'm working with. I need gloves. It's very exciting because we only have one car in our house, and it is a van. It's my van for work, and it only has 2 seats, and there are 5 of us. We've been really unlucky with cars all my life, and I think it's quite ironic because my dad was a mechanic and my dad died when I was 7. But an interesting story that I will share with you, I think about this one quite a bit, is our most recent car that we bought. We only bought it about 3 months ago. It was old, it was 10 years old, and it was fine, but it died on the way to, like, black smoke came out of it in a bunny hut on the way to the airport to go to France. So we had to get someone to come and tow it. We all dived into my van, which has 2 seats in the front and like benches in the back, like it's a commercial van. And I'm just sharing a car story very quickly with you. But today we pick up our new car. We just went for one because our son's learning how to drive. Hello. We're sharing a car now. Are you too? So we have always only really had one car and then the bikes. But anyway, we have on the way to sell the red Mini because it was basically dead, and the mechanic said it can't be revived. It cost us a fortune to pay the mechanic too, but that's by the by. So we sold it to like this scrapyard, and on the way there I said out loud to my dad, which I've never done in my life, a white Golf. Dad, please send us a white Golf. So to give you context, my dad was a mechanic. I've written quite a lot about grief and how I'm very emotional whenever cars break down because it just feels like it happens a lot. And if my dad was here, I would ring him in my head, in my fantasy. But I said this out loud. My husband was in the car with me, and I said nothing more because I'd heard this story about, and it might be a little bit woo-woo for you, but I heard a story about if someone passes and you ask them specifically for something. So this woman that I was listening to had asked specifically for a little yellow car, or a yellow brick car. It was quite specific, from her son who had passed. Anyway, it transpired she was like in an appointment and somebody brought it and set it on her knee, this yellow brick car. So I said this out loud, didn't tell my husband that I'd heard this story on the Bible of Instagram or wherever it was. And fast forward 3 weeks, we looked at Toyotas, we looked at Audi A1s, we looked at little Fiestas over here in the UK, We looked at every other car. I spoke to people. Was your dad creative? My dad was, he was not, I don't think so. My granny, who died quite tragically, my granny and granddad died in a fire in their house of carbon monoxide poisoning. So that was my dad's parents. But apparently my granny was like very into tapestry. But apart from that, no, I don't think so. But this is the joke. Everyone says that they don't know where I came from. But anyway, fast forward, this guy I was chatting to about just getting a car on lease, and he said, look, I don't know, like we'll look at Audis. I said nothing about a Volkswagen Golf, nothing to him. And then he emailed me on Thursday last week, and he said, I found the perfect car for your family. The title, Volkswagen Golf, scroll to the bottom, white. So I took that as a real sign that my dad was sending us this white Golf. So now we have a van and we have the car, which my son can learn to drive in. Well, we're getting the car, sorry, that's what my husband was just ringing me about. Anyway, let me know if you believe in stories like that. For me, it's one of those things where I rang my mum. My mum is a very Northern Irish, sensible lady, woman who is a policewoman, and she is very matter of fact. When Daddy died, she really did like just power through, but we're not big on emotion. So you can imagine I am the other end of the spectrum. So I rang her and told her this, and I don't even think she said anything, but she was just happy we got a car that was safer than my old van that we've got. So what I'm going to use is this gold paint that I have used before. It is Muscle 2. I don't know this one. This is the one that they give me in the store. It's a really high pigment. It's called Antique Gold. There's like a chart, like as if you go to get ones for your wall, and it's this little chart with all the samples. So this was the one that I wanted for when I was doing work in Portugal. I used this, and then I also added the fine powder to it, so I might do that too, but for now I'm going to, hello Vanessa, I'm going to add this to the large one because I realized that it has similar tones even though it's oil. This is acrylic and this is a mixture of oil, acrylic and household paint. But when I brought them out together, I thought, ooh, because I'm thinking quite a bit about an exhibition at the minute, I just need to organize it, but it's so much organizing. So I'll bring you over, will I? I'll ask me any questions you want to know about paint. I will have to go soon, but I thought it would be nice for you to see the studio because it's more exciting than my home in many ways. I was just doing some play on the ground here. And this is the palette knife I wanted to use, but I have not cleaned it. Of course I haven't. It's a sunny day in Belfast. My kids are not back to school, but my husband is back to work, so it's been a lot of juggling and paying the teenagers to look after their little brother. Normally, I actually do clean my palette knives when I finish. Let me know what you think. I love it. It's one of the most satisfying things in the world is taking your excess paint. What do you like to use to make your acrylic more fluid and creamy? Oh, great. So depending, I like to use Winsor Newton professional ones. I feel like they're the creamiest. They just, if you threw them at the wall, they would stick. But I also like to use modeling paste and heavy modeling paste. So that would be what I like to do. And sometimes just water. Whenever I'm teaching you guys as well, I often say like, dip your brush in the water, but that's got it a little bit cleaner for us. So I'm gonna put a little bit on. I'm just gonna literally put this right on. I think there's something about it being so expensive and so precious. You know I throw paint, but this is literally gonna just be dabbed on. When I was looking at it, this one is probably the force as well makes it. I threw the gold at that one, but that gold is slightly different. This is more of a warmer gold. And this drippy. It's not fully stretched. I half stretched it with you guys on here and then just kind of left it. Let me see. The oil is still wet here. I'll bring you over. This could be a bad idea, but let's try it. The oil is still wet here. So I'm actually going to soften the edge of that a little bit so it feels like it was kind of there from the beginning. Like that. And then up here, I like the idea of this looking like it came in these little waves. There's a little flash of gold. I wanted it to be in line with this movement. It was very expressive, this one. So that, let's see if I'll add some more to that because it catches the light here. Yeah, I'm gonna bring your little guy over here. And I'll put you down. There. Okay. This is going on top of oil. And then I've left it a bit thicker up there, so I'm going to add a bit more to that. Nice. Thick. And then see where else I want to put it. Ask me anything in the questions, although I really will have to go. Let me know what you're working on. So there's a bit of like a yellow tone that was in underneath here. I'm working the gold in on that area. So it's like it already has a wee path. Because it wasn't in the original palette, it doesn't feel like it has the same harmony. So I'm adding it where I see that there's already bits like it. So that very, very initial mark making that I made was orange underneath there. You can see bits of it here. So that's where I like the powder, which I think I have the powder, maybe I took it home. But the powder then latches on, which is quite nice. But I hope you're having a good day. Let me know how things you would like me to discuss on here. And when the kids go back to school, I'll be able to like chat more. Let me know if there's any topics you want me to cover or any extra techniques you want to learn. I think we're due an abstract demo. I find those more scary because it's a bit like you're open to even more, you know, stressors. Whereas I can take criticism, I can do that, but there's just sometimes you feel a bit more vulnerable than others. Like I'm happy to show it, I'm happy to show process. But yeah, I think it'd be nice for me to lead you in that. And I noticed last night the biggest engagement was one of the abstract ones. So I guess I should listen to you, my audience. Have a lovely day. You can look out on my website, allyhart.com. Use the code ALYFAVE, ALYFAVE, to purchase the course, Master the Foundations of Loose Painting. It's 2 hours with me, same format as what we have on YouTube, except it's building. You're never going to forget these skills. They're going to be a game changer for you. So let me know if any questions about that. There's a lot of FAQs on the website, but have a lovely day.